All right. So Casey said something very important. I remember not having access to family members, like when you don't have good relationships with them, and you tell a man like, "Oh, I've been through this, I've been through that," they see you as an easy target. So we have to be educated to say, you know what, don't bring up any like negative things to people you don't know, because they're just kind of, if you talk to the wrong man and tell them stuff, like, start women need to start keeping things to themselves. Don't tell people your whole life story. Like, be safe. Like, you shouldn't be going on a date and getting chopped up, because you met somebody that on an app or anything like that. Because you're not taking those measures. Of course, it's bad that it happened, but anyway, when you have like those family members, those cousins, those brothers, when the brothers are not staying in the family, then you have nobody to talk to. You can't talk to male friends that, and that male friends want to sleep with you, or I'm a certain kind of way with on a male friend situation, so I try not to keep them in my life. So that can happen. So you can't trust them. They might lead you and say the wrong thing over there. So your family is all you have. And then also the black family has to stay together. We have to get married. This will be preventable if we. This is why I go so hard for men and women coming together to get married. There's no just be pro man and stand on it until you die on the hill. Like that's the reason I feel bad now, that I feel like, Biz, you got the heat of all of the internet beef of the men, because like they seem to always just men, no matter what. Women bad, men good. That's it. And it's like the other men that doesn't, they don't mean to come from that angle, will get some of that heat. It's like, listen, you don't know how they how they are. They just constantly think that we're always bad all the time. And we are the most three reasonable women that I've seen on the internet. And if that was happening, the miscommunication, imagine. So anyway, to close it up, I think that we have to learn, like, what we're doing on the internet is very important, because we didn't have this before. We didn't have like people telling their stories and how they got caught up in certain things. And so if the women if we start teaching them, the younger people, our experience, what we've gone through, and like, girl, I know what you're going through. Or you tell young girls to wait till you get older so you won't be manipulated. Wait till you get older to date. Like, dating is like a thing, like a little pool to have sex. Like, people don't really understand what that's about. So if you are young, you're 14, you're talking about, I want to go on a date, I want to go on a date, I want to have a boyfriend, like, you're jumping into stuff you don't even understand yet. So wait till you get a little bit older. You don't got to do it the first sign, of you looking like a woman. You could wait until you develop some more and understand more of yourself just to date. And then you could start going dating seriously. So you can avoid all of this stuff by not being focused on material things. Like, he got a pass because he got money. He got a pass because he looks a certain kind of way. Like, let's just start looking at people's character. All right. I'm gonna make sure my phone wasn't gonna die. Let's look at people's character, and if we going by character, then you would have never chose somebody like Diddy, because he has horrible character. These things we have to stop valuing, and sometimes in our community we act like money's everything. Like, oh, it don't matter. He can do what he want to do because he got money. And it's like, no, you can't do whatever you want to do. There are going to be consequences, even if you get away with it for 30 years. On that 31st year, you're going to have to pay the piper. So people have to understand that. And how can we figure out how to not create predators? What happened in Diddy's life so we won't let that happen again? Like, how do you know that your kid is not going to be the next Diddy? How are you preventing it? Are you talking to your kids?
Well, Ruth, not to interrupt you, but you just hit
Mhm.
the nail on the head. I believe that he comes from a single mother worshiping her son type situation, right? Their relationship is very strange. And it is more low key now, but back years ago, it was, her always just kissing all over his face in public and on the red carpet. And it's like this is my boyfriend, this son, that type of stuff that Kevin Samuels used to talk a lot about in relationships, with having men that grow up to be, they desire power, but they also feel invincible. They feel that they can't be touched because their mother worshiped them, right? And then that also makes them look down and feel, and look and have more, and look as women and also men to be less than them, because how their mother raised them to be a husband, brother, boyfriend, and son, all rolled up into one, and best friend, all rolled
For
up into
her,
one.
for her,
And
not a wife.
right, and that is not the role of a mother. And so I remember being a teenager in my early 20s and seeing their relationship at award shows, and it just seemed like she worshipped him. And I have three brothers, and I've never seen my mother go on and on with my grown man, brothers, and kissing and oh, I can imagine what that would turn a young man's um brain into, as far as how he looks at other people and how he's been raised. So that you said it with family, husbands and wives being together in the household, and then also dang it, I lost where I was going. But yeah, that you hit it on the head.
So HD, Phil, you get my back on this one. So a couple things. Ruth, we have been studying these very type of people for 40 years now, right? The exact background that we can assume that Diddy has, we have been exploring that and looking into it and coming to an understanding of it for easily 40 years, right? So we're not naive. We The only way that you can be naive to it is if you make that decision of doing that, right? So the other part of it as well, again, we have seen predators all throughout history since the beginning of time. We can learn everything that we can about them, but there's only going to be so much that we can do to X them out. That will be the extreme. And what the extreme would be is, as soon as you show that any signs that you are this type of person, period, that is, we wiping you off of the planet. That's the only solution. But being that we live in a society that we live in, and in many cases, and this is not a punch or a pun towards women, but in many cases, women protect these very exact same men. So it places everything in a very difficult position, because now we can't necessarily address it because they're hiding in the shadows without us even knowing it.
Is it
The
women or society as well? Because it would be better if you know.
I I I would say society, yes, but in many cases it's women. And we can and it's evident because we are literally seeing women coming out of the woodworks 30 years later, 20 years later, of something happening, and they just now saying something. So that on its own should say a lot about how it is that we can prevent these things from happening. So if no one is coming forward and saying this nigga is a perv, he's a pedo, he's a rapist, whatever the case may be, and everybody standing foot on this nigga neck, then there's nothing that we can do about it. It's just going to continue to happen. The other part as well, everything that you guys just named, that Diddy's mom was doing to him, is literally the norm now. Women are literally doing that every single day to their sons. And that's the problem. That's why I'm saying that we need to hold these children accountable, regardless if the mama want to coddle them or not. It doesn't matter. Society, when real life kicks in, they have to understand that there's going to be consequences and repercussions to their actions. And if our women, and of course I put all the blame on men for not being in their children's lives. But if women continue to do this, we're fighting an uphill battle that can't be won. I've
And
even
that's why
pers-
the other family members need to
hold
be
on, wait,
involved
wait.
to help
Uh,
the,
Let me
the
finish.
woman
Let me
raise the
finish.
child.
I was
It
about to
was
address
actually my
that.
turn. That's why I
I
jumped
was
in.
about to finish that point. So the other problem with that as well, and I've experienced this personally, is that I've attempted to be in young men's lives, but the mothers would literally undermine what it is that I'm saying to them. I'll scold them on what it is that they're doing because they don't have a man, a father in their life. They don't have a positive male reinforcement in their life, and I would scold them. And she literally went behind my back and babied the boy afterwards.
You're right.
So it's something is definitely something that is on the men, but we need to really realize and understand that the only way that this can be successful between men and women, between men, women, and child, the holy trinity, the only way that we can build our community back up is that it has to be a joint effort. It has to be a joint effort, and we have to both meet on one ground and understand that we're working towards this as one goal, because if one side fails, the other side fails, and when both sides fail, we all fail. So we both have to take accountability for every single decision it is that we make, because our future literally depends on it.
And not like
Biz,
back to
I
what
completely
AC.
agree.